Hey, and welcome to Etcetera State of Mind podcast. Today we're going to be talking about thoughts, perspective, and one of my favorite subjects. Are you caught up in the matrix? Are you caught up in this matrix, in your mind, in the physical world? But really it's all a mind. It's all a mind game. Let's just get right into it. Perspective is such a powerful thing because your perspective is your reality. Whatever you perceive, that's what you think is real. And no matter if you perceive something bad, something good, something that's in that gray area, however you perceive it and whatever you perceive, that's what you believe. That's why I hate texting. This may sound like it's off subject, but that's why I hate texting, because texting doesn't really give you, I'm not going to say it doesn't give you a chance to have a good perspective on what the person is trying to say, a clear understanding and comprehension on what the person is trying to say. But you know how you get that text message and like that person is like saying it one way, and it could be somebody that you know, but that person is like saying it one way. But when you read it a completely different way. Now, some people may be like, oh, well, that's dealing with comprehension. That's still dealing with your perspective too, because when most of the time for me all the time, when I read somebody text, you know how you try to read it in their voice, like how would they say this? And it could be an innocent text, but it's like, for some reason, our minds likes to wander off into that negative territory. And that's that's a whole nother subject right there in itself. But I'm sure you get what I'm saying. And I you know how I do my podcast. I like to break things down the way everybody can understand it. And I'm sure you've got that text message from that friend, and they said what they said and they meant it one way, but when you read it a completely different way. It's way, away from the way they wanted you to receive it. Okay. But perspective is everything. We have perspective about everything too. We have perspective about ourselves. We have perspective about our jobs. We have perspective about our future. We have perspective about our past, etc., etc., etc. The list goes on. How you choose to perceive things plays a big factor in your life. Whether you agree to that or not, it does. Because like I said, your perspective, which I'm sure everybody that's listening already knows, your perspective is your reality. And sometimes you have to get out of your view and try to think about that bird's eye view. Go above. Look at the whole situation instead of where you're at right now. Look at where you're trying to go. Look at where you came from. Analyze the situation at hand right now. The solution could be something simple, and sometimes those simple solutions may seem like they're hard to do, but sometimes those simple solutions are just being real with yourself. Sometimes that simple solution is get out of the way of yourself, because we get in our own way a lot. Another thing is fear, and fear is, I feel like we're more afraid than what we should be because of our perception of things. we perceive that this is going to happen in this negative way. And I don't know why our perception has to be so negative, but it's because we're not feeding this with enough positivity. And another thing that we have to do better of, and I say we, because I'm talking about all this, is learning ourselves, like for real, and learning how to have complete control over our emotions. Because whether you're male or female, our emotions plays a factor on our perception, and vice versa. Our perception plays a factor on how we feel, So if we can learn how to control how we feel, that'll help with perception. And I can go on and on about different things about how to control how you feel. I'm just going to say this, and I'm saying this as a certified nutritionist. One thing is, what you eat plays a big part on how you feel, whether you believe it or not. And if you don't believe me, I say it all the time. Go Google it. Look it up. There's plenty of books to read. There's plenty of information out there on the internet that's real. We love to believe the stuff that's nonsense. Let's believe the stuff that's actually the truth and like it. Okay. But seriously, what you eat plays a big factor. Here's my thing. I can prove it. When you don't have enough food, or when you're really hungry, what happens? You get what we call hangry, which means the lack of food plays a part on how you feel. But when you finally get something to eat, you're like, oh my God, I feel so much better now. Which means consuming food plays a part on how you feel. And I'm just going to skim over this real quick because I don't want to get too far off subject. But on top of that, the types of food that you eat, the types of food that you put in your body, it predicts how different chemicals in your mind, and it predicts different signals that's going to be sent to your brain to release different chemicals. Okay. And if you're eating trashy, you go feel trashy, not just physically, but mentally. If you're eating clean, you're going to feel clean, not just physically, but mentally. And that's different for everybody. You gotta, because everybody doesn't like, what somebody else likes, So you got to figure out, first of all, what are those foods that are clean, that can make me feel better. Second of all, what do I actually enjoy and like to eat? Because food, and like I said, I don't want to get too far off subject, but I want to say this. Food, and I've talked about this multiple times in different podcasts. Food can help you with depression. Food can help you with anxiety. Food can help you feel happier. It can give you pleasure. Like the list goes on about the good things that it can do. But at the same time, it also has those negative effects where it will keep you in depression. It will, keep you, make your stress levels worse, because food can actually help you with stress. Okay. Like I said, these are things that we need to learn. And that's I think that's going to be part 2. I'm going to come back and talk about that in part 2 of this podcast. It's going to be a part 2 of this, where I'll talk about how we live for however many years we've been living, and we still don't know about life. We deal with things on a daily that we don't know about, but we know about everything else. Give you an example. We deal with money every day. We don't know about money. We don't know about credit. We don't know how credit works. We don't know about banks. We don't know how bank works. We don't know about debit and how debt works. We don't know about investing. We don't know about all these things. And I'm not a pro in all that stuff. I'm learning myself. I'm learning myself. So I'm talking about me too. Another thing, what I just talked about, food. We eat food every day, all the time. And we don't know about food and what it does to our body. We don't. We think we know because, oh, we learned a little class in school, or, oh, I listened to this person on YouTube, or, oh, I saw this TikTok. Man, screw all that. Go and find real information for yourself. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Food is amazing. Y'all know I believe in God, so I'm going to talk about God in my podcast. God put everything we needed on this earth. I'm telling you. You just got to go out there and learn it. These people, human beings knew about this stuff way back before the internet and all this stuff. It's a whole lot more easy and accessible to get this information. I'm telling you. And it's worth it. People, for the ones who are like, oh, it costs too much. Bruh, you either go pay for it now or you go pay for it later. And when you pay for it later, it's going to be in the hospital. And they ain't going to be treating you to fight off whatever you got. They going to be just treating the symptoms. And treating the symptoms is not healing you or curing you from the disease or whatever it is. Okay. But anyway, that's for part 2. So that's for part 2. Be on the lookout for that. But anyway, back to the subject at hand. Perspective, thoughts, and the matrix. I'm gonna kind of just bounce around wherever my mind goes. You know, I don't write nothing down. I just go with the flow. I know what I want to say once I start talking. So, the Matrix, and I'm not talking about the movie, even though the Matrix, the movie, is one of my favorite movies. They coming out with a new one. I cannot wait because I know it's gonna be super dope, and I pray that they keep with that. They keep that same mentality that they had with the other 3 movies. But anyway, the Matrix, the movie is so before its time, and it is so deep if you really pay attention to the message that they're trying to show everybody. You know, get away from the sci-fi stuff that's going on. Get away from the slow-mos, even though that's cool too. I love that part. Don't get me wrong. But they really talking about the matrix that we live in and this system that we live in. Are you caught up in that matrix? Are you? If you go back and listen to some of my poetry, you hear me talk about the matrix all the time and how we're caught up in the matrix. I'm telling you, the first thing is, and this is something that also messes up with our perspective and our thoughts. I'm gonna get to our thoughts because that's a powerful thing right there. But as far as being caught up in the matrix, one of the first ways we get caught up in the matrix is the outlook on how society looks at us or how people look at us. In layman's terms, we care about what people think too much. And when you care about what people think too much, it goes back to what I'm saying about us not having control over our feelings. When you care about what people think too much, you have just gave control to whoever it is that you're worried or who's going to think about whatever you're doing or whatever you have to say. So we care about what people think too much. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't listen to people. I'm not saying that you shouldn't take people's advice. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have an open mind. You should have all those things. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I already said you shouldn't. I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to people because you should. You know. But at the end of the day, you got to have your own mind with your own emotions and your own choices. You need to make the decision for yourself. It shouldn't be because, well, if I do this, such and such might think this. And that such and such person could be your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your family, your significant other, your wife, husband, whoever it is. Like, I don't care if you're married, man. You got to have a mind on your own. Like I said, listen to them, hear them out. It's nothing wrong with having your own opinion about things. And there's nothing wrong with making up your own mind without letting other people cloud your judgment and cloud what you want to do. Because what's going to happen is you're going to do something or not do something because you were so worried about what somebody was thinking that you're going to miss out on an opportunity, or you're going to put yourself in a bad position. I can't even talk. Position. And then you're going to want to point the finger at the person that you was listening to or you're going to be like, oh, I knew I shouldn't have cared about what they thought, or whatever the case is. And it's going to, you don't want to live life like that, because when you live life like that, that is mental enslavement, which is the worst type of slavery. That's mental enslavement. When somebody has control over your emotions / your perspective, which in turns control your thoughts, that is a dangerous place to be in. That's why I'm so glad that I learned not to care about what people think. Now, am I gonna sit here and be like, oh, it don't cross my mind, like, oh, what if such and such think about that? Yeah, it do cross my mind. But I say, hey, hold on, Denzel, hold on, slow down, breathe. You gotta think for yourself, man. You're the one you're the one who is going to have to deal with the consequences of this decision, whether you do it or not. You're the one who's going to, be affected by this. It's not going to be the people who are putting their input out there. It's not going to be your mom. It's not going to be your, they may be affected indirectly, but you're going to be directly affected, and if it's not, even if, another person may be affected physically and mentally, you're going to be affected physically and mentally, but it's going to be even worse, especially if it's a negative outcome to that situation, which usually it is. So that's one way that we get caught up in the matrix. Another way is we don't take the time to, what I was talking about before, to learn and to read about things, and to and also to appreciate the truth and appreciate people who are telling the truth. We like to bash, especially these days, this cancel culture mess. Like, it's getting bad, man, to where it's like nobody wants to hear the truth because everybody wants to be right. Somebody got to be wrong. Everybody can't be right. Somebody got to be wrong. Somebody has to be wrong. Like, this cancel culture mess is getting out of freaking control. Like, I understand things that people are trying to do, and they think that it's for a better cause, and it may be, but at the end of the day, everybody is entitled to a position. I mean, not a position, I'm sorry, to a opinion. Everybody is entitled to a opinion, man. And just because I can go up to you and be like, your opinion is wrong, mine opinion is right, don't mean that just because I got a group of people who can bag me up and be like, yeah, he's right, you're wrong, your opinion's wrong, his opinion is right. Just because I got enough people who can bag me up don't mean I got to come and like freaking chop your head off. Like, it's just an opinion. Now, if I'm coming to you with facts, which I love to do, if I'm coming to you with facts and you're not coming to me with facts, that's two different things. But same thing. If I'm coming to you with half facts, mixing it with my opinion, that's also two different things. So, but anyway, like I said, back to this matrix thing. That's how we get caught up in the matrix, man. Is first of all, the outlook of society and how we just, like I said, we care about what people think too much. The other thing is we're trying to keep up with everybody. That's a dangerous place to be in too, because that's another form of control. Be yourself. You see my thumb? My thumb has a thumbprint that nobody in this world has. So what business do I have trying to copy somebody else? We always talk about being unique. We want to be different. We want to be all this stuff, right? But then we go around and be like everybody else. We talking about the same stuff. We posting the same stuff. We using the same poses. We using the same filters. We watching the same shows. Some stuff we do do because we like it. We do because everybody else like it. So we go do it. Like, why you got to be like everybody else? If you want to be that person that wears vintage clothing, and that old classy 70s, not 70s, but like 60s, 50s style, do it, man, and wear it proud. Wear it proud. If you want to be a person that whatever, do it and do it proudly, man. But do it because you want to do it, not because of somebody. You think somebody is going to be impressed by it because we're trying to impress people, not because you saw it on some TV show and you feel like, oh, they did it, then I can do it too. No, do it because you want to do it. Start your own trends, man. Start your own trends. There's nothing wrong with supporting people, but you don't have to, quote unquote, be a follower of the masses. Stand out. Stand out. And I know you can stand out. You know why I know you can stand out? Because your thumbprint doesn't match my thumbprint, and your thumbprint doesn't match anybody in this world thumbprint. So you are already created to stand out. Already. But we get caught up in the matrix because of TV and because of music and because of all this stuff that we feed our brains, all this negative energy, all this drama, all this nonsense that our brain doesn't need. We don't take the time to just take a breather and like release all of that stuff. We always talk about, I see people talk about all the time, oh, I need a detox. I need to do a detox. You need to do a mental detox, homie. Let go of the TV for a month. Let go of the radio for a month. Go outside every day. That time you spent on the TV, that time you spent listening to music, that time you spent watching TikToks, go outside and just go for a walk and look around, man. Look around. Breathe in the fresh air. Enjoy the rain. Enjoy the sunset. Enjoy the heat. Enjoy the cold. Do something you never done before. Or just like I said, just go on a simple stroll. Just go and sit outside and just do that with no TV, no unnecessary drama. Don't be on, and when you go out there, don't be on your phone. Put it on mute unless it's for emergencies. And don't be out there texting and talking to everybody. Just enjoy the moment, man. Give your mind a break. Give your mind a break, man, from all of this unnecessary nonsense. And then something I want you to do, I challenge you to just think on your own. But when you think, I want you to think nothing but positive stuff. Everything that's negative to try to pop in your mind during that time, change it to positive. Change it to positive. Whatever your perception is or your situation at the time, change it into a positive perception. Whatever that negative thing somebody told you, say, man, forget that. What they say means nothing. What I say means everything, because life and death is in the power of your tongue. And what you say, I'm sure you see plenty of people talk about manifestation all the time. What you say manifests. Say positive stuff within that time. Seriously. And then just in that moment, appreciate you. Appreciate you. Appreciate the flaws that you have. Appreciate where you came from, no matter how hard or how tragic it's been, because you're not the only one, and we can be in this together. You know my saying, all things are possible. Let's do it together. Let's do it together. Take the time. Like I said, that time you was going to spend on TikTok, on TV, on YouTube, on Netflix, watching all this new stuff coming out. Take a break from it for a month. Try it for a month. But let's take baby steps. Try it for a day. Then try it for 3 days. Then try it for a week. Work up to 2 weeks. Work up 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then a month. And just give your time. And I ain't saying do it all day. Just set an hour and a half to just really sit back, go outside. And you don't even have to, you don't have to go outside, but go outside, be in the house, open your windows, turn the TV off, dim the lights, and just think, man, and think nothing but positive stuff. Tell yourself positive stuff. Speak positive stuff to help change your perspective. Get you out of that matrix for a minute, man. Open up your mind. Open up your mind. If you saw the Matrix movie, even if you didn't, you probably seen the meme where it's like red pill, blue pill. That was all about, hey, you can either open up your mind and I can show you what reality is, or you can stay caught up in the matrix and think you know what reality is. We need to get out of this matrix, man. I'm telling you. And it's all right here in our minds. We get caught up in this system. We get believing in this system a little bit too much, when at the end of the day, you have control over your life You have, and if nothing else, excuse me, you definitely have control over your mind and your emotions. That's the one thing you have control, if nothing else. That's what I'm saying. When you get caught up in the matrix, you start caring about what people think too much. You are now mentally enslaved. If I can come to you and make you angry at any time, I have control over you. If somebody can come to you and make you angry at any time, make you sad at any time, make you whatever at any time, they have control over you, whether you believe it or not. I don't care if it's your mom and daddy, whoever, your boss, cousin, your significant other. If they can control this, you are enslaved to that person, and you need to have complete control over this. It's not the easiest thing to do. It's something that I'm working on myself, but we can do it. We just got to take the time to learn ourselves, and take the time to take care of this mind and our mental health, man. It's so important. Okay. All right, I'm going to move away from the matrix, and then now let's talk about these thoughts. Your thoughts are so powerful. But let me tell you something. Or let me ask you something. What is a thought? It's nothing. A thought is nothing but a thought. That's all it is. A thought is a thought good or bad? You may say, well, you can have good and bad thoughts. I disagree with that. A thought is just a thought. It's nothing. It's in that middle area. It's neutral. Well, what if I'm thinking about something bad? Who said it was bad? A thought is just a thought. What makes that thought bad? It's just a thought. There's a saying that goes like this. Your body goes, hold on, let me think of it. It goes like, I forgot. I'll get back to it. I'll get back to it. But your thoughts, remember what I said. You have complete control over your thoughts and your emotions. Your thoughts, when you think of something, it's neither negative or positive, unless you make it negative or positive. Your perception of that thought makes it negative or positive. Because let's say here's a perfect example. Let's say somebody I know dies. I could think about that and be like, dang, this person dead. I wish this. I wish I could have did this. I wish I could have did that. Blah, 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 blah. Or I could say, dang, my boy is gone or whoever's gone, but I'm glad we was able to do this. I'm glad we was able to do that. I'm glad we was able to do this. I'm glad we was able to do that. Now, and vice versa, I could think about both of those things. Is one worse than the other? Or is it just a thought? Is one really negative than the other? Or is it more positive than the other or more negative than the other? Or is it just a thought? Because I guarantee you, if I went up to 20 people and I told them both of those scenarios, people would have something else to say about it. So if I guarantee if I went up to somebody and be like, oh yeah, my boy did, but I'm glad I was doing this, I'm glad I was doing that, I guarantee you somebody would be like, oh man, but you can't tell me you don't miss him. You can't tell me. Why you got to say that? I said what I thought. Or I could be like, oh man, my boy gone. I wish I could have did this. I wish I could have did that. And then somebody be like, oh, don't feel like that. Don't say stuff like that. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just saying my thoughts. Can I do that? It's my thoughts to express. That doesn't mean that I was being negative. And it doesn't mean that I was being positive. It's just, this is what was on my mind. And I'm verbally expressing it to you, or I'm mentally expressing it in my mind. Now, what can make a thought go from positive to negative is the actions after the thoughts, what you do after the thought. That's what creates a thought into something positive and negative. But then again, it ain't, the thought still isn't and just hear me out. This may be like, you probably, some people probably like, bro, you ain't making no sense right now. Just hear me out. Even then, when you do that action after you thought about something, the thought still isn't positive or negative. It's the action that you do, which is positive or negative. You know, because I could, like I said, let's just say somebody died. I could think, oh man, you know, my boy's gone, blah, 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 blah. And then I go and do something to myself, or I go and do something to somebody else. You know, that's not such a good thing. That would be a negative action. Or my boy's gone and then I go uplift somebody else, you know, that may be feeling down, or I go uplift somebody. See, that's my action that came behind the thought is something positive, you know. But anyway, with me saying that is, that's one way you can have control over your emotions. It's just knowing that a thought is just a thought. You have to almost disconnect your mind from your body and realize that it's two different things, man. It's two different things. Okay? Just take a deep breath and be like, bruh, just because I thought of that, it's just a thought. It don't mean I'm a bad person. It doesn't mean that I'm a good person. It's just a thought. You know, and don't let nobody make you feel bad by things that you thought in your mind. Because we as human beings, our mind goes like this all day long. All kinds of stuff runs across our mind. And if we drive ourselves crazy saying, well, that was negative or that was positive, or letting somebody else tell us, well, that was negative and that was positive. No, man, it was just a thought. And when you make it as simple as that, I talk about this a lot in my podcast too, making life simple. When you make it simple and be like, bro, that was just a thought. Now, it means nothing. Like I said, it doesn't mean anything until an action follows behind it. Then that thought has manifested into reality, you know? And the action don't have to be physical either. It could be mental. You could think about something and then next thing you know, now you have fear. Now you have fear because of a thought that you thought about. Even though that thought wasn't positive or negative, you just thought about it and then you created fear. And fear is what? A emotion. It's not a thought. Fear is a emotion. See, and that's what I'm saying. I hope this is starting to make sense now how I'm saying a thought is a thought. It's not positive. It's nothing. It's just a thought. What you create after that thought is what makes it. It's not even what makes a thought something. It's you created something else, whether it be emotionally or physically. So don't feel bad for thinking whatever you're thinking. You're not crazy. You're not a bad person. You're not whatever you try to make yourself feel as. You're not whatever somebody else try to make you feel as. You're just a human being with a mind like every other human being with thoughts. And a thought is just a thought. Take control over your mind and make life simple. That's something my dad has been telling me for a few years now. Not taking control over your mind, but just making life simple. He said that so many times. He was like, son, if you make life simple, I'm telling you, it's a whole lot easier, man. Just make it simple. Don't make it complicated. Make it simple. And I'm telling y'all, making life simple is a life changer. I'm telling you. Okay. So anyway, what's the next? What's next? I'm just going off the top. Y'all know I don't write nothing down. But I hope that made sense. You know, just go and think about that, man. Your thought is just a thought. It's not neither positive or negative. Now, what you do after that thought, That's something completely different because, like I said, that's either a physical action, whether it be verbally or whatever, or that's a emotional act, you know? So, and like I said, that goes back to your perspective. If your perspective of your thoughts change to just, you know what, that was just a thought. I'm not going to beat myself up because I thought about whatever. I'm not going to do, I'm not going to get down or get sad because I thought whatever. No, man, you just, like I said, you're just a human being. And you have thoughts just like everybody else has thoughts. And there's no reason to beat yourself up for whatever thought you had, whether it be good or bad. Don't create negative actions off of that. Don't create negative emotions off of that. If anything, do something, a positive action. Remember, I didn't say thought, a positive action or positive emotions. Change your perspective. I'm telling you, positive perspective is positive power. Okay. And remember, everything I'm talking about right now is all dealing with the mind. If you learn how to control this thing emotionally, if you learn how to control this thing with your perspective, if you learn how to control this thing as far as blocking out all other sources, whether it be TV, music, people talking, social media, all that nonsense that don't matter, that don't understand you completely, because you're the only person who can understand you. You're the only person who can feel what you feel. It don't matter if you go and you say word for word exactly how you feel. Nobody understands it. Even if you can meet the person that went exactly what you went through at the same time you went through it, exactly how you went through it. And you and that person are going to feel different ways because you are not the same as that person. And you have to remember that. So if you remember that you're not the same as somebody else, they can't understand you completely. They can't feel exactly what you feel, how you feel it, the way you feel it. Then why are you subjecting yourself to care about what other people think? Think about that. You are allowing yourself to be mentally enslaved, which leads to so many other things. Get out of mental enslavement. Get out of that matrix. Don't let this system get you caught up in the matrix with that TV, with the social media, with the government and all this stuff. Don't let them get you caught up in this matrix, man. Get out of the matrix. Get out of it. Get out of it. And you have the power and the control right here. You don't need no pill like on the Matrix. You got it right here. All you need is to love yourself. You need patience with yourself. You need to put some effort in to learning yourself for real and learning your mind, simplifying your life. Make some changes on what you listen to, what you watch, who you hang around, the type of conversations you have. Get away from that drama. Make a decision and say, you know what? This is it. I'm done with it, and be done with it for real, and take steps to where it don't come back. Okay. And then take control over your emotional life. Seriously. Somebody come up to you acting crazy, be like, man, I ain't worried about that. And you know how you do that? It's something that I talk about. I'm talking about more and more and more because I'm learning it more and more and more. And I'm appreciating it more and more and more. That's gratitude. That's compassion. That's love and kindness and patience. If you show yourself all those things first and then show everybody else those things, even if they being nasty, that's where compassion comes into place. Somebody being nasty to you, you show compassion. Kill them with kindness. That's a powerful thing. I'm telling you. You kill them with kindness, guess what? You go have more control over this right here when somebody come up to you with something negative. Okay? And I'm talking about the negative stuff because that's where we usually, have the most issue with. Now, don't get me wrong. people being super positive to you can kind of mess you up too, because then it'll boost your ego. They put you on this pedestal, and you know what happens when people put you on the pedestal? They can knock you down, and you don't want to do that either. So when I say not caring about what people say, that goes for the positive and the negative. That goes for the positive and the negative. Right now I'm focusing on the negative, but that goes for the positive and the negative. Because at the end of the day, like I said, you got to have control over your own mind. It don't matter if somebody coming up to you with something positive or negative. You got to have control over your own mind. You make the decision. You make the decision. Emotionally, you make the decision. Mentally, and then you make the decision verbally and physically. Okay? Now, my advice would be to, when you do make a decision, first of all, you don't want to make a decision off your emotions. So get your emotions in check and out of the way. Really do some thinking about what the decision is, whether it be big or small. Don't have no fear. Get that out the way. Like I said, that's about putting your emotions in check, and make that decision for yourself. Okay? You'll be way more happier. I say this all the time. The moment you stop caring about what other people think, and you stop being influenced by what the world is trying to offer you. Because at the end of the day, they don't care about your mental health. They don't care about your physical health. They don't care about you. They care about one thing: making money off of you. They want you to spend money, get in debt so you can be enslaved mentally and financially. That's what they want. And don't give that power to nobody. Nobody. All right? Don't give that power to nobody. So let's see how long have I been on? Let's see. Okay. I'm going to end this right here. But it's going to be a part 2 to this. I promise. And we're going to talk about some good stuff. Appreciate you guys for joining in on Etcetera State of Mind podcast. It was a pleasure, as always, to share my thoughts. I know I was kind of bouncing all over the place, but that's what I like to do. I don't want to write anything down. I want to give you what's inside of Etcetera State of Mind. And so welcome to Etcetera State of Mind. Again, it was a pleasure. I pray that you all have a blessed day, evening, night, whatever time it is. Be sure to follow me on all my social media platforms. Go to my website, etceterabiz.com/links. It'll take you to all the links if you want to follow me on any of my websites, YouTube. I have Twitch for my gaming. I got the Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of that good stuff. My podcast stuff on anchor.fm. Be sure to follow me on there too. But my podcast also goes on Apple Podcasts, the podcast that's with Google, Spotify, all of that stuff. So it goes out to a bunch. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys. I'm using this new equipment. It may not be the best right now because it's my first time trying it on this particular system that I'm on. But just want to say I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'm grateful. And I want you to know that you are something special. You are somebody special. And your life has meaning, value, and purpose. Take control over your mind, and that'll help you take control over your life. God bless y'all. Peace.